Welcome to Shamrock Channel. I hope you enjoy the stories I tell. Today's story is officially beginning. Thanksgiving family dinner. Sophia Liu, who has been in love with me for 5 years, is finally going to give me a name. As soon as she took out the ancestral jade pendant, Ethan Tang snatched it and put it on. Sophia Liu gave a spoiled smile and said, "If you like it, you can have it." The whole room fell silent. Everyone was watching my reaction as the would-be groom-to-be, thinking that I would, as usual, lose my image and make a scene. Instead, I stood up and gave a warm round of applause, and the sound of congratulations echoed in the private room. A loving couple will eventually become a family. Congratulations to the newlyweds. Sophia Liu turned her head to look at me. Ethan Tang stood on tiptoe and placed a kiss on her cheek. His voice was sticky. "Fiancée, I knew you were the best for me." Sophia Liu's eyes flashed with surprise and confusion. She quickly reacted to the fact that she had just given away, casually, the jade pendant that symbolized her future husband. She hurriedly took a step forward, took my hand, and explained to me, "I was just joking with Ethan." What a lame excuse. But today, we were gathered with our parents and relatives, and everyone was trying hard to smooth things over. "Jack, you and Sophie are going to spend the rest of your lives together. An outsider is not worth getting angry with. Is he really an outsider?" I looked up at Sophia Liu and Ethan Tang behind her. They had grown up together, inseparable and close. Ethan Tang was playing with the jade pendant, his eyes full of undisguised provocation. Sophia Liu, on the other hand, still had the kiss marks on her face. I was afraid that I was the outsider. I withdrew my hand from Sophia Liu's grasp and looked at her calmly. "You've already put on the family jade pendant, so the next step is to announce your wedding date, right?" Sophia Liu frowned and looked displeased. "Jack Shin, don't make a scene here. Ethan was just curious and tried it on. It's not like it's going to fall off. Why are you being so petty?" As soon as these words were spoken, an awkward silence spread. Not to mention adults, even children know not to touch things. A casual comment of curiosity, and you want to sweep it under the rug. Do you take everyone for a fool? Ethan Tang gave a wry smile and took off the jade pendant. "Hey, Fiancée, don't say that about your brother-in-law. He's not petty. Brother-in-law, this jade pendant is more suitable for you to wear, so I'll give it back to you." He handed it to me. He let go on purpose, and the jade pendant fell to the ground and broke into pieces. There was silence in the room. No one dared to speak, but they were all very puzzled. It was obvious that Sophia Liu had done something wrong, but she was the one throwing a tantrum at me. I saw Sophia Liu's discerning scrutiny in her eyes. It was as if she had anticipated my imminent anger and the disgraceful scene I would cause in the private room. In the past, if Ethan Tang had touched my things, I would have made a scene. Then I would force Sophia Liu to judge who was right and who was wrong. She would get annoyed and block me, and even use cold violence against me. It wasn't until I was afraid of losing her that I took the initiative to admit my fault and apologize to Ethan Tang, and she reluctantly forgave me. Every time we had a fight, it was me who begged her to come back. In this relationship, I have given so much love that I was destined not to be the winner. I just didn't expect I would lose so completely. I met Sophia Liu when I was 17. Her father was a domestic abuser, and her mother was a compulsive gambler. When she first moved in next door, she was very gloomy and quiet. It happened to be Thanksgiving that day, and she, a young girl, was sitting alone under the street lamp. I was carrying mooncakes when I passed by and saw her expressionless gaze directed at the bustling crowd. Envy flashed in her eyes. When she noticed me, she lowered her head. I thought about what the neighbors had said about her family, and I felt a little sad. I handed her a mooncake and smiled. "Will you eat a mooncake with me? My parents aren't home yet, and I'll be so lonely if I eat it alone." Her gaze slowly moved from the mooncake to my face. We each ate a mooncake and looked up at the night sky. The moon was full and bright, and fireworks were being set off, blooming with gorgeous light and dispersing the gloom in her eyes. After that, I always asked her to do homework with me, and our relationship improved rapidly. It can be said that I spent the most gloomy and lonely period of Sophia Lu's life with her. After the college entrance examination, she and I were admitted to the same university. But suddenly we lost contact. Until Thanksgiving in my sophomore year, I was preparing to go home for the holiday, but Sophia Lu blocked me at the school gate. The moment she kissed me, my heart stopped, and then it beat violently. Our lips almost touched, and she looked down and asked me seriously, "Jack, do you want to be with me?" I blurted out yes. After I said that, I lowered my head in shame. She obviously knew that I had a crush on her, and she still asked me that question, just to tease me on purpose. That was how Sophia Lu became my girlfriend. I could hold her hand as we strolled across the entire campus, take her to the popular couples restaurant, and send her morning and evening greetings every day, although her response had always been very cold. But I felt that her upbringing had made her a bit closed off, and as a man, I just needed to give her a little more security. It wasn't until I saw with my own eyes how Sophia Lu took such good care of Ethan Tang, with such meticulous attention to detail, that I finally understood. She wasn't cold. It was just that the people who could make her passionate weren't me. Ethan Tang thrust a full glass of wine into my hands and said with a smile, "Brother-in-law, it's time to propose a toast." I snapped back to reality and placed the glass on the table. Seeing this, Sophia Lu's face turned sour. "Jack Shin, you're never going to stop, are you? If you keep causing trouble, you're out of here." Ignoring her warning glare, I nodded. "Okay." In an instant, her face darkened, but I ignored it and turned to leave the private room. Behind me, Ethan Tang raised his voice. "Shuefei, today is Thanksgiving, a time for family togetherness. It's not good for your brother-in-law to leave. Why don't I go find him?" "No need. He'll just cause trouble if he comes back." "Okay. Can you hold my wine for a second?" Sophia Lu held back her impatience and gently reassured Ethan Tang. Ethan Tang put his arm around her and smiled openly. A reunited family. It was they who were right. Apart from the kiss that confirmed their relationship, Sophia Lu had never made a move on me. She had always been the image of self-restraint, propriety, and fairness. In reality, she never hides her favoritism towards Ethan Tang. They always reminisce about the past in front of me, talking about their childhood friendship and leaving me out. If Ethan Tang gets lost, she will rush to pick him up at 3 a.m. If Ethan Tang loses a client's file, she will protect him even if it means offending the client. If Ethan Tang calls, she will immediately rush to his side, even if she is busy with something important. If I get angry, Ethan Tang can just say "just kidding" and it's over. If I don't let it go, she'll say I'm petty and jealous, and we'll have a fight. I've also wondered if Sophia Lu really loves me, but she told me that at the Thanksgiving family dinner, he'll give me my title. Until tonight, she casually gave Ethan Tang the family jade pendant, leaving me and everyone else as witnesses to their relationship. How ridiculous. My phone vibrated, and my mother sent me a video clip that lasted a few seconds. The glass that Ethan Tang had drunk from was naturally taken over by Sophia Lu, refilled and gulped down. "Jack, Miss Lu, this is outrageous. She's openly having an affair with another man. Does she know that you're her future husband?" "I suppose. She knows, right? Otherwise, at today's dinner, they wouldn't have invited me and my relatives, but Ethan Tang instead. They would have received the blessings of their relatives side by side, then set a wedding date and created a happy family." Thinking about this, my heart felt like it had been ripped open, empty and hollow, with only the howling of the cold wind left behind. It blew away the pain. It also blew away years of unfulfilled longing. I suddenly realized, I can stop loving Sophia Lu. Back at the apartment, it was past midnight when I finished taking my shower. I picked up my phone. Sophia Lu hadn't sent me any messages, but Ethan Tang's Facebook feed had been updated. "Promise me you'll never hold anyone else's hand again." The photo showed 2 hands clasped together, the woman's hand with a small mole on the back, and I was the person she would never hold hands with again. I didn't call Sophia Lu to confront her, as I had done before, but instead calmly switched off my phone and went to bed. At that moment, the screen of my phone lit up automatically. Mr. Chin had sent a message. Jackson, this opportunity to study abroad is hard to come by, and others would kill for it. How can you push it away? Can't your relationship with your girlfriend survive the 3 years apart? After graduating from university, I didn't get a job, but continued my studies. Mr. Chin was my supervisor, and there were not many internal referrals for studying abroad, so she recommended me. I asked Sophia Lu what she thought. She said she respected my choice, but that night she had a nightmare, screaming my name over and over again, telling me not to leave her behind. My heart softened, so I politely declined Professor Chin's offer. But I never imagined that I would be the one left behind. I suppressed my emotions and was about to reply when Professor Chin sent another message. You are my most accomplished student. Seize this opportunity, and when you come back, you can stay on as a teacher. Men should establish their careers before starting a family. Shouldn't they? I pursed my lips and typed a reply. Teacher, I'm willing to go abroad. Could you please send me the application form? Teacher Chin replied to me in seconds. I'm glad you've come to your senses. Wait a moment. I'll look for the file. Here's the application form. Just fill it out and send it to me directly. The departure time is next month. In the meantime, I'll grant you leave, so you two lovebirds can spend some time alone. In the past, whenever there was a holiday, I would have hated to be away from Sophia Lu for even 24 hours. She would get impatient, but if I just looked at her tenderly, she would be helpless against me. Now, this vacation, I will use it to say goodbye. I got up from the bed and took out the cardboard box to start packing. Sophia Lu and I have lived here for 5 years, and I have carefully selected and arranged all the things in this place. I naively thought that this was Sophia Lu and my home. I laughed to myself. There are plenty of people who are willing to give him a home, and I am not one of them. After packing up most of the things, I was so tired that I couldn't even lift my eyelids, so I decided to go to bed first. As soon as I fell asleep, I heard the sound of the door opening outside, followed by footsteps. Sophia Lu was back. Jack? She didn't see me in the living room, so she pushed open the bedroom door. Seeing that I was already asleep, she frowned and her tone became more severe. Jackson. I covered my head with the quilt. In the past, no matter how late she came home, I would force myself to wait up for her in the living room, and then question her about what she had been doing with Ethan Tang, pressuring her to tell me who was more important, Ethan Tang or me. This was the first time that something had happened that she hadn't expected. She reached out to dig me out from under the quilt, and I could smell the pinewood fragrance on her. It was the same perfume that Ethan Tang usually wore. I frowned, pulled the quilt down, opened my bleary eyes and said, I want to sleep, you should go take a bath. Sophia Lu suddenly froze, and then thought of something and spoke up on her own initiative. Ethan really was inconsiderate this time, but after you left, he actively admitted his mistakes and even helped entertain the relatives. I narrowed my eyes and interrupted. Then he really had a hard time. You. She was momentarily at a loss for words. Her chest rose and fell, as if she was suppressing an unknown anger. Finally, she said, I'll sleep in the study, and left. I knew she was angry. It was rare for her to give me a way out, but I had let her down by acting indifferent. So she vented her anger without restraint. I thought that if I did the same, she would come to me. The next day, I was making breakfast. Sophia Lu walked out of the study, looking like she hadn't slept well. She casually said, Don't bother. Ethan wants the Xilong Bao from Donglin morning tea, so you go buy them and take them to the office. I didn't even look at her as I served up the sandwiches and started eating. They had been childhood sweethearts, and they treated me like a servant. Sophia Lu saw that I wasn't talking to her. Rarely perceptive, she sensed something was wrong. Still angry? Do you think it's funny to make such a scene? I swallowed my sandwich and shook my head at him. It's not a scene. Ethan Tang is still young, and it's normal for him to rely on you. I'm sure you can handle it. Sophia Lu looked a little uncomfortable. Are you serious? Of course, she just doesn't know what's going on. Just talk to her nicely, and he won't do it again next time. I nodded indifferently, but Sophia Lu looked incredulous. I didn't bother to say anything else, put my plate in the sink, and turned to get my bag. She followed me, speaking in a tone of condescension. Okay, I know you're still angry. How about this? You buy Ethan some Xilongbao, and I'll go to the movies with you tonight, the one you've been wanting to see. Okay. She looked at me confidently, as if she was sure I wouldn't refuse. I smiled, but my smile was bitter. Last month, a long-awaited movie was released. I asked Sophia Lu to go see it with me, but she said she was busy with something important. That night, I saw Ethan Tang post on his moments that he had 2 movie tickets. In the photo, he was holding Sophia Lu's jacket on his lap. At that moment, I finally understood. The important matter she was referring to was going to accompany Ethan Tang. Now that the movie has been completely withdrawn, she finally has time to accompany me, but I no longer have any expectations. I'm busy tonight. My teacher wants to see me, so I have to go to school. I grabbed my bag and left. Behind me, Sophia Lu let out a derisive laugh. Since you're so busy, you won't be able to come to my friend's party tonight, right? That's right. If you're sure you won't be coming, then I'll go pick up Ethan, and he can sit in the passenger seat. Okay, I answered, and walked out without looking back. Sophia Lu shouted my name. Jack Shin. I stopped in my tracks. She asked me in a hoarse voice, "Are you willing to let someone else sit in the passenger seat?" I shook my head. You're free to do whatever you want. In the past, I fought with Ethan Tang tooth and nail for the passenger seat, but when she said, "My passenger seat can go to whoever I want," she just let Ethan Tang get in as if he were the victor. Whether I wanted it or not was never in the realm of her considerations. And if I argued with her, she would just say, "If that makes you happy, you can have it," and then quietly watch me go hysterical. Now I'm returning her words to her, but she seemed unable to accept it and froze in place. At school, I asked Teacher Chin for a leave of absence and went to the library to read. Rarely, Sophia Lu sent me a message. "I have a surprise for you." I frowned, wondering if she had sent the message to the wrong person. At that moment, the delivery person called me. I walked out of the library suspiciously. I received a bouquet of roses. Sophia Lu sent a second message. "Do you like it?" It seems that not only was the message sent in error, but the delivery was also sent in error. I'm allergic to pollen. Ethan Tang, on the other hand, loves roses. I took the flowers and walked to the school gate, where I found a trash can by the roadside and threw them in. Not far away, I heard a car honk, and I turned to look. It was Sophia Lu's car. In the past, I had hoped that Sophia Lu would come pick me up, but she had said that it was too far a detour, so why had she come now? Soon, I would find out the reason. Ethan Tang ran out of the school gate, skillfully got into the passenger seat, and smiled while hugging Sophia Lu's arm. "Shuefei, I just happened to come here for a stroll, but who knew it was so difficult to hail a cab here? Thanks for coming all the way to pick me up." "That's good. I'm not feeling well. Would you accompany me to the hospital, please?" Sophia Lu didn't say anything, and looked at me coldly. I took a step to the side. Then, she slammed her foot on the accelerator and took off with Ethan Tang. The last time Ethan Tang pretended to be sick and asked her to go, I chased after them and made a scene. She and I had a cold war for a whole month. This time, I didn't even ask. Went to the cafeteria for lunch, and then went home to sleep. I woke up the next day, and the apartment was empty. Sophia Lu hadn't returned all night. Ethan Tang had also disappeared without a trace. Since I was leaving the country the next month, I signed my parents up for a tour group so they could have a good time, saw them off to the bus, and then slowly made my way home. As soon as I entered the door, Sophia Lu appeared out of thin air in the living room. She didn't know how long she had been sitting there, and only stood up when she saw me return. "I didn't come home last night. I was a little surprised that she was telling me this, and nodded in a perfunctory manner. Her hand on the side of her body suddenly tightened, and her tone was urgent. Don't you want to know where I was last night and who I was with? I poured myself a glass of water and shook my head. No. She took hold of my arm. Jack Shin, why have you become like this? More and more like you, is that a bad thing? Her eyes flickered. Her expression softened a little, and she took the initiative to take my hand. Her tone tinged with a hint of grievance. I've been busy all night, waiting for your call. Why didn't you call me? In the past, when I called, she felt that she didn't have personal freedom. Now that I've given her freedom, she doesn't want it. But I don't care anymore. Sophia Lu has become attentive to me. When I go out to meet friends for dinner, she will send me caring messages and even take the initiative to ask where I am and come to pick me up. This would have been impossible in the past. Under the teasing glances of my friends, I agreed to let her pick me up. It's time to set the record straight, I thought. While waiting for Sophia Lu, Ethan Tang strode towards me. As we passed each other, he whispered, Jack Shin, you're going to lose. I frowned in confusion, but then I saw a piece of paper fall from his body. I picked it up and looked at it. It was a photo of two people walking into an obstetrics and gynecology department. The man was Ethan Tang. The woman by his side was, Sophia Lu. I couldn't tell what I was feeling right now. Rather than being sad, I felt a little ridiculous. Sophia Lu had always thought that Ethan Tang was simple and unworldly, but such a simple person had actually had a child. I heard footsteps approaching. I looked up, and Ethan Tang had returned, looking at me with a composed expression. You've discovered me. I raised an eyebrow and smiled. Sophia Lu is not here, so there's no need to pretend to be innocent. Here's your baby back. I handed him the photo. He took it, folded it slowly, and put it in his bag. Aren't you curious when this child was conceived? He sneered, his eyes full of provocation. I shook my head and sneered. Sophia Lu, and you stayed out all night. And it's only been a few days. Even if you took hormones, it wouldn't be that fast. Who said it was last time? He leaned closer to me, lowering his voice and saying, word for word, it was your birthday. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Staring at him intently, he smiled at me. It seems your memory is still good. Yes, my memory has always been good. 3 months ago, on my birthday, Sophia Lu proposed to me after I blew out the candles. She promised to be with me forever, that no matter what, sickness or wealth, nothing could keep us apart. The next moment, she turned around and left because of a phone call, without even putting the ring on. Afterwards, she just said that she had something urgent to take care of, and that since the proposal was a formal way of asking for my hand in marriage, it was only respectful to have both sets of parents and relatives witness the moment. I should have known that. Apart from Ethan Tang, who else could take her away with just one phone call? Sophia Lu never did pick up. I asked teacher Chin out for barbecue. During the meal, Sophia Lu kept calling me, and after 5 or 6 times she stopped and started sending me messages instead. I ignored them all. Teacher, my English foundation is really a bit poor, I want to. Teacher Chin paused. You can learn a poor foundation slowly. I can tell you, if you give up this opportunity, it will be difficult to stay on as a teacher. Love is precious, but don't put your future at risk. Jack Shin, you must think carefully before answering me. Seeing teacher Chin's earnest face, it was impossible not to be moved. In the past, I put too much energy into Sophia Lu and neglected the people around me who really care about me. I shook my head. You're mistaken. I'm not trying to say no. I'm just asking if you have any good training courses to recommend. You're not going to back out. I nodded in response to her delighted gaze. Great. I knew you weren't acting on emotion. That night, I received the training course that teacher Chin recommended, along with a bunch of information she sent. I signed up for the course and read the information with interest. Sophia Lu returned home very late and vented her anger on me. Jack Shin, why didn't you answer my call? I didn't even look up and casually said, I was busy with something urgent and didn't see it. Your things are urgent, but mine aren't. What did she mean? Before I could react, she snatched my phone away. I tried to take it back, but she opened my Weibo account and impatiently looked for something. Where is the post? What post? I don't know what you're talking about. I snatched the phone back and frowned at him. Don't pretend. She took out her phone and opened the city's hot search, and there was news about Ethan Tang and a married young woman cheating on their spouses. How dare you say you didn't post this? Ethan already told me everything. You sent a private detective to follow us and took pictures of me going to the obstetrics and gynecology department with him. He already explained everything to you, and you said you believed us, but then you went and exposed us. It wasn't me. Who else could it be but you? I looked up and stared at him. This woman I was about to marry looked him straight in the eye and said, "Besides me, aren't you two suspects? Jack Shin, don't try to argue with me. I'm warning you. I can't stand the thought of my partner being a snake. If you don't delete the stuff online, we're done." This wasn't the first time she had threatened to break up with me. In the past, no matter how wronged I felt, I would temporarily back down for fear of losing her. She thought this time would be no different, but this time I really couldn't do it. She had obviously checked my phone, and I hadn't posted the post, so how could I delete it? But she would rather believe her own assumptions than accept the fact that I was innocent. It's just that in her heart. Ethan Tang is innocent, while I am full of schemes. These days I've got a rough idea of studying abroad. I won't be back for the next 3 years, and I've sent most of my luggage home, with a small part of it I've moved to the hotel. I'm leaving in less than a month, so there's no point in renting a place. After signing up for the training course, I barely had any personal time. I spent every day practicing my oral English and occasionally replying to my parents' messages. Sophia Liu never contacted me again. So when I went to the school to submit my documents, we ran into each other and both froze for a moment. Since I was the leader of the study abroad team, the school needed to conduct an assessment, so I came here specifically and just happened to bump into her in the office. She also had some documents in her hand about the selection of outstanding graduates. Jack Shin, are you here to ask for peace? I admire her confidence. By the way, I waved the documents in my hand. There were teasing voices from the side. Jack Shun is here to give me the documents, Sophia Liu. Don't think that society is the same as university, where everyone revolves around you. The person who spoke was Anna Park. She and Sophia Liu were the strong contenders for the university's most beautiful girl. But they went abroad when they were sophomores due to family troubles. Anna Park? Jack Shin, you're Anna Park's man. Before going abroad, Anna Park and Sophia Liu were mortal enemies. She was the one who came to evaluate me, and I was also very surprised. But what did Sophia Liu mean by that? What did she mean by I'm Anna Park's man? I laughed and shook my head. Miss Liu, with our current relationship, it seems you're not in a position to ask me questions. Upon hearing this, Sophia Liu's face changed. What do you mean? Didn't you say it? We're done here. I smiled at Sophia Liu, but her expression seemed to tighten up for a moment, and then break. If you delete the post, nothing will happen. Why do you have to? I shook my head. I didn't post the post, so how could I delete it? Jack Shin, you're obviously not like this. You used to accommodate me. So, she knew that herself. I ignored Sophia Liu and handed the information to Anna Park. Anna Park took it with a smile and raised an eyebrow, saying, people get tired of being accommodated for too long, and when they do, they naturally leave. She waved the document in her hand, and Sophia Liu snapped out of it. She suddenly confronted me. You left me to go abroad with Anna Park. I didn't know how Sophia Liu's train of thought had reached this point. Before I could ask, Ethan Tang rushed in and forcibly dragged Sophia Liu away. The office fell silent, and I helplessly rubbed my eyebrows. A glass of warm water was handed to me. Drink some water to calm down. I took it and said, thank you. Anna Park smiled and said, we have known each other for many years, so there is no need to be so polite. When you are abroad, I will be your host, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I nodded graciously, but I never imagined that Anna Park's next words would be an invitation to dinner. In the restaurant, I met Sophia Liu again. She had a gloomy face, and Ethan Tang was sitting next to her. Seeing Anna Park and me together, she was so angry that her eyes were red. Jack Shin, what do you think of our relationship over the years? Her question made everyone in the restaurant raise their ears in curiosity. I knew, if I didn't make things clear, I might become famous. When Anna Park tried to help me, I shook my head at her and directly confronted Sophia Liu's anger. I thought of you as someone I would spend the rest of my life with. But what about you? You never took me seriously, you were jealous all the time, and you cheated on me with my worst enemy. I've been treated like shit for the past 5 years. I burst out laughing and played the audio recording I had made earlier. Aren't you curious as to when you got pregnant? On your birthday. Sophia Liu's eyebrows furrowed, and I put the phone away. In that photo, you went to the obstetrics department with Ethan Tang, and he was carefully protecting your belly. Actually, this wasn't unexpected. Sophia Liu, ever since I've known you, you and Ethan have been inseparable. No matter what mistake he makes, you'll unconditionally clean up the mess for him. And what about me? Am I just a part of your relationship? Or is it that Ethan Tang likes to know that there are 3 of you, and you find this kind of relationship extra exciting? 5 years. You spent 5 years wearing down all the feelings I had for you. How can you say with a straight face that your 5 years were feeding the dog? Sophia Liu clenched her fists and lowered her voice. Jack Shin, this is all a misunderstanding. Let's go home and I'll explain it to you myself. No need. No more. I turned to Anna Park and said we were going to another restaurant. Anna Park readily agreed. We left arm in arm. Sophia Liu tried to follow, but her hand was grabbed by Ethan Tang. Ethan Tang cried, Shuafei, that Jack Shin bastard dared to call me a mistress. Teach him a lesson for me. Unexpectedly, Sophia Liu didn't fall for the usual trick. He threw Ethan Tang to the ground. Get out of my way. Who said you could insult my boyfriend? As I expected, what happened in the restaurant was filmed by a passerby and posted online. The drama between the 2 men and the woman was the most talked about. Sophia Liu had to launch a project soon, and the company had issued a strict order that there must be no negative news, so she paid a lot of money to cool down the heat. But I happened to learn that Sophia Liu values this project, and Anna Park's company is also competing. Anna Park asked me if I wanted to participate, and after thinking about it, I agreed. It just so happened that I was busy and about to go abroad. Sophia Liu's assistant has always been Ethan Tang, but Ethan Tang is clumsy and often needs Sophia Liu to bring the materials home after work for me to organize. Now that I'm gone, and Sophia Liu is pregnant, the 2 of them are making a mess of things. On the day of the competition, I saw a thick black circle under Sophia Liu's eyes, which showed that her sleep quality had recently reached an all-time low. When she saw me walking side by side with Anna Park, she lost her initial anger, but I knew that she was suppressing it. I assisted Anna Park in successfully winning the project. Anna Park publicly gave me a watch as a reward. When I accepted it, I felt a hot, burning gaze on my back, following me the whole time. It was at the bathroom door. As soon as I came out, I saw Sophia Liu, who had been waiting for a long time. I hadn't noticed it before, but she looked despondent and haggard, nothing like the goddess of the business world. Are you waiting here for something? Sophia Liu seemed to have 1,000 things to tell me, but in the end, she held up a ring and knelt down on one knee. Jack Shin, let's get married. I've made too many mistakes in the past, and I apologize. After you left, I realized that I simply cannot live without you. I've fallen in love with you a long time ago. We had been together for 5 years. This was the first time Sophia Liu had ever said the word love to me. I found that my heart was extraordinarily calm, without the slightest ripple. Sophia Liu's hand holding the ring froze, and she tried to take my hand with the other hand to put the ring on my finger. I took a step back to avoid her. Jack Shin. He froze. I smiled. Even now, you don't still think that I'm the person who will come back if you coax me, do you? I had heard about Sophia Lu's entanglement with Ethan Tang long ago. After she decided to be with me, I had also been curious about the reason. After all, she and Ethan Tang had known each other since childhood and understood each other. But then I came along. I always thought that I warmed her heart, and that's why she fell in love with me. But then, I overheard her talking to a friend on the phone. That's when I found out the truth. Sophia Lu and Ethan Tang were practically engaged as children. But when they grew up, Ethan Tang rebelled and secretly got a girlfriend. When his parents found out, he was afraid of being punished, so he lied and said that Sophia Lu had a boyfriend first, and she only got a girlfriend later. To help him cover up his lie, Sophia Lu found me and started dating me. The reason was me, because she knew me and knew how much I liked her, and she knew I would never reject her. Ethan Tang was the one who started this relationship. He was also involved in the process and the ending. I tried hard to be in Sophia Lu's eyes, but I couldn't control her heart. In these 5 years, I have already accumulated enough disappointment. The engagement ring fell to the ground. Like the day of my Thanksgiving dinner, it didn't break apart like the jade pendant, but it was covered in dust. But my heart no longer ached. Sophia Lu, you and Ethan Tang owe me, and I will never forgive you in this lifetime. Sophia Lu stood up straight, her large hands tightly grasping my arm. Her eyes were scarlet and her expression was crazed. Who are you to not forgive? Do you think I like cleaning up his messes? I'm still doing it to atone for your sins. If you hadn't stopped me from leaving on your birthday, Ethan wouldn't have been drunk and cornered by his ex-girlfriend. And now she's pregnant and blaming him. You only care about your own feelings. Have you thought about the sadness and pain of Ethan, who is still a child, but has encountered such a thing? I was shocked. I didn't come to my senses until Anna Park arrived and slapped Sophia Lu in the face. I held back Anna Park, who wanted to continue the fight. I looked down on Sophia Lu. You said Ethan Tang is a child, but he is a year older than me. He suffered a sad thing, and he is certainly pitiful, but what does this have to do with me? That day was my birthday, and you took the initiative to propose to me, but you didn't say anything and turned to leave. I stopped you, and what happened to him fell on my head. Is this reasonable? Sophia Lu had a black eye. After hearing what I said, she kept her head down in silence. Anna Park snorted. All this talk is just to cover up the true face of someone who wants it all. Sophia Lu, you're shameless. The day I left for abroad, I was in the waiting room, video chatting with my parents. Regarding my breakup with Sophia Lu, my parents expressed their respect for me, and even teased me, telling me to broaden my horizons and find someone from abroad, and they would be fine with it. Just then, Anna Park walked by and accidentally entered the shot. My father took one look and said, "This young lady is quite good. She looks like she could be my daughter-in-law." I was about to explain, but Anna Park gave a gracious smile and said, "I am honored to have passed your interview, and when I return to China, Jack and I will pay you a personal visit." Her poised attitude won over even my usually fussy mother. I was embarrassed and my toes were tapping the floor. Fortunately, the boarding announcement came on, which eased the tension. Before turning off my phone, I received a text message from an unfamiliar number. "I hope you get what you want. I'll be waiting for you to come back." Life abroad was not as difficult as I had imagined. However, it was not easy at first. Fortunately, Anna Park had studied abroad before, and with her guidance, my students and I quickly got on track. Occasionally, when I video chatted with friends back home, they would also mention Sophia Lu. I had been abroad for half a year. Sophia Lu had remained single, and she told everyone that she was waiting for someone to return. As for Ethan Tang, I heard that he got into a fight with his ex-girlfriend on the street, got hit by a car, the woman had a miscarriage, and Ethan Tang broke a leg. Sophia Lu, contrary to her usual self, didn't care about him as much as she used to. My friends all said that Sophia Lu really learned her lesson and is slowly getting better. Another year passed. Sophia Lu started her own business, and Ethan Tang joined her new company. Ethan Tang made mistakes at work because he was clumsy, was isolated by Sophia Lu's employees, suffered from depression, and tried to commit suicide several times. His friends advised Sophia Liu to give up on Ethan Tang, but every time Sophia Liu entertained such a thought, there would be another suicide attempt. Ethan Tang couldn't live without Sophia Liu, and I spent a year and a half abroad. I gained a deeper understanding of the research direction abroad, wrote a paper comparing domestic and foreign research, which was published on the front page, and the university issued me a certificate of honor. After a celebration dinner, I returned to my apartment to soak in the bathtub. But I received an unexpected phone call. It was Sophia Liu. Jack Shin, I can't wait for you anymore. I had never taken Sophia Liu's waiting seriously, so when she said she couldn't wait anymore, I didn't feel a bit sentimental. She was just a familiar stranger in my life. It's okay, you don't need to feel guilty, I responded while playing with the bubbles. It's my own fault for being so slow-witted that I lost you. I'm sorry for the harm I caused you in the past, but it's too late to make amends now. Remember the first time we met? She rambled on about the past, but I had difficulty empathizing with her. In the bathtub, I was wrapped in the warm water, which made me drowsy. Half asleep, I heard her let out a long sigh. I'm getting married to Ethan Tang, the 15th of next month. Will you come back to China to attend? 3 years later, I finally set off on the journey back to my home country. The familiar airport entrance and exit made me think back to when I left for abroad. Although I was calm, I also felt a heavy heart. But now, I was completely relaxed. As soon as I returned, the school arranged a position for me and assigned Teacher Chin to be my contact. Over the past 3 years, Teacher Chin and I have become good friends of the opposite sex. When we weren't talking about work, she inevitably talked about my ex-girlfriend, Sophia Liu. A year and a half ago, Sophia Liu's company was finally getting on track, but a business rival dug up dirt on the restaurant from the beginning. The past was brought up again, causing a huge uproar. For the sake of the company's reputation, Sophia Liu married Ethan Tang. With the legal relationship, Ethan Tang's depression did not improve, but his anxiety increased. He was always suspicious, anxious, and angry, and had a strong desire to control Sophia Liu. He even went so far as to sell the core contract to a business rival for fear that Sophia Liu's career was going too well, and she would abandon him. Sophia Liu's company suffered a major blow, and the dissatisfaction of the core staff with Ethan Tang reached a climax, and they left one after another. Without the core staff, the company is weak in appearance but strong in reality. A month ago, it went bankrupt due to mismanagement. Sophia Liu was listed as a person of no creditworthiness because she owed her employees wages. If Ethan Tang had just stayed put and Sophia Liu had found a new job, they could have made a comeback. But Ethan Tang followed Sophia Liu wherever she went, ruining several job interviews. Sophia Liu finally couldn't hold back and struck Ethan Tang. The two went from childhood sweethearts to estranged lovers, and the process was saddening. It was Thanksgiving again. Anna Park had prepared a generous gift and pushed me into the passenger seat, taking me home. I turned my head and looked through the car window and saw a scruffy figure. The person looked familiar. He seemed to sense my gaze, turned his head blankly, but after seeing my face, covered his face and ran away. Do you think Mom and Dad will like what I've prepared? Anna Park asked, and I glared at him. Mom and Dad are both here. How could they not like it? What about you, honey? Do you like me? I was hit by her sudden coquetry, but I couldn't suppress the corner of my mouth. Well,